Hello and welcome to today's video. In today's video I look at the top 5 things I've made out of Worbla. Number 5. Number 5 is this handstand Groot. I've done a couple of other Groots, but this one is definitely my favorite. It was kind of a rewarding challenge to make it so he could do this pose. Luckily for me, Groot's fingers aren't a set length, so I was able to extend them out a little bit and make this possible. Number 4. So number 4 is my Godzilla. I have been a fan of Godzilla for as long as I can remember. I remember watching the Godzilla movies when I was growing up, probably starting as early as maybe 6 or 7 years old. It would come on TV in the morning sometimes, and sometimes super late at night. So I've always loved Godzilla. I've made him a couple times out of clay, but I really wanted to do a Worbla one, and I was really happy how this one turned out. He was fun to do all the textures with, and I liked doing his back plates and doing them a lighter color, as seen sometimes when he lights up to breathe his atomic breath. I definitely want to do more, either Godzilla or more Godzilla monsters out of Worbla, but, I have more ideas than time, so we'll just see what I can get to. Number 3. So number 3 is my Swamp Thing bust. So this was a life-size mannequin that I sculpted Worbla over to make Swamp Thing. Now, this is definitely my most time-consuming project that I've ever done out of anything. I do roughly record a lot of the time that I spend making these. Just kind of jot them down on a piece of paper as I work on it. And he was about 40 hours to do all the sculpting and all of the painting. And with him, what really took a lot of the time was the painting, because I started with a base coat of brown and did some dark greens and then more greens on top of that. And there was just a lot of little places that I would miss. So I had to keep going back to him and touching up the paint and making sure, there was enough coverage of everything. But I'm really happy how he turned out, and I'm definitely glad I got him finished. Number 2. Number 2 is the Piranha Plant from Super Mario Bros. Now, I used a PVC pipe that I got from Menards for the pipe that he comes out of in the game, and then I did the rest out of wire, foil, and Worbla. And then painted him, as I do all of my Worbla projects, with acrylic patio paint. So I was really happy how this guy turned out. I had a lot of fun doing him. He was definitely very challenging. I used some pretty thick wire for his stem to build that foil on top of, so he was going to be nice and sturdy for that head. He was a challenge to paint because I sculpted him all and then had to get into his mouth to paint his tongue and his teeth and get on the insides there. And then I added a gloss coat over that tongue to make it nice and shiny. So yeah, he's like I said, he's number 2 on my list, so I was very happy how the Piranha Plant turned out. Number 1. Number 1 is the Necronomicon, inspired by the Necronomicon that is featured in Evil Dead and Army of Darkness. Now, this is my most recent Worbla project, but it also quickly became my favorite. It turned out almost exactly how I wanted it to, which isn't always the case when you're making art, and you have to have that flexibility in your mind to be able to accept things to be a little bit different than what you had envisioned. But for this one, it definitely turned out how I wanted it to, so I was really happy with the end results on this one. I think what I enjoyed the most about doing this project is, I could make the Necronomicon, but I could make it my own, and I could do different things with it, but yet it still came across as being the Necronomicon. Thank you for watching today's video. I hope you liked my look at the top 5 things I've created out of Worbla. If you want to see more of my Worbla creations, be sure to check the playlist Worbla. If you have ideas of things you'd like to see me make out of Worbla or other materials, please leave it in the comments down below. I might go ahead and make my top 5 things out of polymer clay and my top 5 things out of needle felting. The only issue I have with the polymer clay is I've been doing it for so long. I've literally made thousands of creations out of polymer clay. So it might be kind of hard for me to figure out what are my top 5. And then if I continue to do this, because I'm, planning to keep making more stuff, and I'm sure some things will move into my top 5 list, I might do like the top 5 things I've created in, 2019. And that way it kind of limits it and I don't have to go back so far. But let me know what you think of those ideas. And remember, never stop creating. Bye. If you want to see an in-depth look at cut that out.